Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to record with Snipping Tool within Windows. And so in the first instance I'll actually show you how to get Snipping Tool and then how to actually use it to record your screen on PC in 2025. But first guys, if you want, you can go down on this video in the comment section and click on the first comment that I pinned. This will bring you to my Fiverr, and here you can get a YouTube logo and banner or a modern minimalist YouTube logo and banner for your YouTube channel. But now back to the video. So as I said, Snipping Tool should be integrated into your Windows. So you could simply go to search and type Snipping Tool. But in case you don't have it, you can actually go ahead to check for updates. So basically go to your Windows updates here and then check for updates, because you might be behind on some features, which can cause some malfunctions. So make sure that in any case you are up to date. Also don't forget, it's important to mention, sometimes you have to click multiple times on check for updates. So you click once, it's going to check, it's going to say you're up to date. And if you click another 2 or 3 times, sometimes it will actually come up with something new. This has happened to me in the past. So sometimes just double check, click on the check for updates multiple times to really see if Windows is really not finding any updates. Because trust me, it can happen that only clicking on it once wouldn't suffice. Sometimes I actually click on it multiple times. So just do it to make sure. Then of course how to get Snipping Tool itself if for some reason you don't have it on Windows. So if you go right here and search, we're just going to go to the Microsoft Store here simply, just click on it, and up here, as you might guess, we're going to type Snipping Tool, and it's also appearing here. Click on it. Now if you don't have it yet, it should probably say get right here, like getting the app, so the word get, but here I have open because I obviously already have it. Once again, for some reason you could not have it integrated in Windows, even though it should, and so here's why you would get it simply for free. Just put it on your PC. Now if you already had it on Windows but you're running into any problems, or maybe the recording option doesn't seem to be there, you can just remove it. So you will do that to go to apps and remove it within Windows, and then you can just get it again here in the Microsoft Store. Obviously sometimes just uninstalling and then installing it again could also help. So then if I go to search and type Snipping Tool, I'm first going to right click on it and do app settings. This will show the app settings of the installed apps, so in this case Snipping Tool. And you first of all, very important, want to make sure the microphone is on here. So it's a little switch here, you want to make sure it's on. For the rest here, nothing really too crazy. Once again here you can for example uninstall it if really needed, and you can install it again in the Microsoft Store. But for the rest here, nothing really else to mention. It's especially for this permission right here. If I'm here again, what you can also of course do is right click on it and do pin to start if you wanted to have it right here in your start. Pin to taskbar is going to be right down here. So that's in case of course you want to have the shortcut, and if needed, run as administrator of course. Now just one last thing here I want to mention before opening a Snipping Tool, because these steps are important, is the audio settings, and so the input and output audio in Windows for Snipping Tool. And you do that by going to the little audio icon here, you right click, sound settings. So you actually want to go down here to more sound settings. This one will show up, and basically here in recording you would want to select your microphone and do set as default and apply. But if you're for example using another software like Voicemeeter, you could select one of these right here, or any other software that you're going to use for, in this case, the input, so the microphone. And same if you go to playback here, so the output. You could use, for example, once again, something like Voicemeeter or any other software. Otherwise, you can by default just select your speakers. Once again, set default and apply. That is going to be very important because that's obviously where the input and output is going to come from if you're using Snipping Tool. But that's all you have to do really. You can just set this to your speakers and microphone right here. In case you can see, this one is actually the one that's active. Now you can also click on it and go to advanced. And then just right here, you make sure it's selected on 2 channels, 16-bit and 48,000 Hz DVD quality. There's not a really big difference between 44,100 and 48,000 Hz, but I definitely advise you, if it's not already set to this one, and same for the output if you're using for example the speakers. Then once again click apply if you changed anything. Now of course how to open Snipping Tool. Now there are actually 2 ways to do that mainly. First you can go to search as we saw earlier, and of course type Snipping Tool. As you can see right here, you can just click on it and it'll show up here. Now second way to do it, which is arguably easy, it's already written here, it's going to be the Windows key, Shift and S. So if I close this again, click the Windows key on your keyboard, then hold Shift and S. And as you can see, it will appear and it will immediately be in the window. So that would actually open it and make the screen a bit darker, and so it will immediately ask you to select a certain region. So it's a bit quicker because it'll actually start the Snipping Tool immediately. Now the first option you might have already used in the past. It's basically how you screenshot in Windows 11, which is by using the Snipping Tool and then the snip right here, just taking a screenshot. Now this will actually allow you, if you do new, to select a certain region in question. So there we go, so it will select a certain region, not even entirely the screen per se, but whatever you wanted to select. And then you can actually do like window, full screen, or feel free to form your own little part, your own free form of whatever you want to record. And it also has a timer. So if for example, you're doing something in a different window in a game, for example, and it has to be at a specific moment, you can just for example prepare like 5 or 10 seconds. And so whatever you're doing will be taken as a screenshot in action. So that's actually of course the screenshot version. But since this video is about that, of course, you also have the Snipping Tool for recording. So the record button obviously, which in this case will be the Windows key plus Shift plus R to immediately launch and start a recording. Of course you have to select the region first, which is once again the same button here. You do new, select a certain region on the screen, could be entire screen or partially. Okay, so there you go. And when you select your region, so the part of the screen or the entire screen what you want to record, you will see these options up here. Now, obviously the first is going to be the start button. So if you click on it, it's actually going to start the recording. Next to that is going to be like the time that has passed of the recording. So it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to basically count up until like, I would say around 20 minutes. So watch out for that. Actually around 20 minutes. I think it starts to cut off sometimes. So make sure that you actually do the recording in multiple different recordings, if you will, if you're using Snipping Tool, because I do think that 20 minutes is the maximum and it might cut off, so watch out for that. And then of course you have the microphone. Now as you can see, mine at the moment here is muted, but if you click on the little arrow next to it, you'll see the options that we saw earlier as well within Windows for the input in this case, which of course is going to be my microphone, but of course I also have the voice meet, which was the software that makes your voice better. Those options you have as well, or select your microphone. It's once again entirely up to you. And then the last one here is going to be your desktop audio, so your system audio, which is basically going to be every sound within Windows, no matter if that's like the sounds of Windows or music. Anything that has to do with desktop audio is going to be here. And so here, when you click on it, you basically just turn it on and off. So if there's a little like line through it, it means it's off. Just like with the microphone, it's off if there's line through it. And if you click on it again, there's no line anymore. That means it's actually enabled again, so that you can actually hear your desktop audio as well, which once again, you have to select in your Windows. So that's important that you select the output there. And then yeah, you basically, of course, can go ahead and click on the record button. So the start button. As you can see in the middle of the screen here, there will be a little countdown. You have like a 3-second countdown before it actually starts to record. So it's a little heads up. And so as you can see now, it's recording the screen. And up here there's actually also still some other options that you can do while recording. The first one, of course, being the pause button. So if you pause this, you can just pause the recording and click on play again if you want to resume. Then of course you do the stop button afterwards. Next to it is just going to be a timer. This is just, and once again we have the logo of the microphone, the system audio, so the desktop audio as well. Then lastly here, we can discard the recording. Discard basically means that while we're recording, you can actually just delete it. So this will of course cut off the recording, and you'll also just be able to immediately delete it without even doing just like click the stop button and then afterwards you go and put it into your recycle bin and then delete it. You can actually just do that immediately during the recording, which is very nice that you have that option, so it doesn't add another file on your computer that you have to individually delete afterwards. But then of course you can just go ahead and click stop recording here. Okay, so when it's actually stopped, it will bring you up to this window here. You can actually just watch through it, just basically what I just recorded. Up here you can also go to trim and already apply a certain trim. If for example you don't want this first part right here, I wanted to cut off at a certain point at the end, you can just remove these two here, the beginning part and this end part, which is grayed out. That's in case you want to do that. You can click apply here. So you can immediately already remove some useless couple of seconds at the beginning, for example, or end. So that's actually pretty nice. That's just like a pre-editing option that you have here. So if you want to keep that, you can actually do apply up here. And if you don't want to do that, you can just go ahead and do cancel here or escape on your keyboard. And there you go, as you can see, brings us back to this window right here. And talking about editing, what's also nice, you can actually do edit in Clipchamp here. And it actually launched Clipchamp, which is a software that is used in Windows. So it's also an integrated Windows application, which is for video editing. And so if you have that as well, which once again should be integrated, you can actually go ahead and click on it and actually edit your video in there directly. So it's also a pretty nice option. Then here next to it, we can click save, of course. So do save as or Ctrl S. And this is going to ask us where you want it to be saved. Now I will actually show you the path afterwards here. I'll actually show you how you can actually get a default path where you want to save files. And here it will be as an MP4, as you can see. And this is going to be the recording file name. You can also just go ahead, change it to another name. Then you can just click save down here and the recording will be saved. Then if you go to the right side to the three dots here, do settings, or you can also do open screen recordings folder, so you'll see immediately where they're being saved. But if you go to settings here, this first part is for the snipping, so it's mostly for the screenshots. We're going to just go ahead and go over to screen recording. Now automatically copy changes, you can actually select it as well if you want. Another one is actually pretty important in terms of automatically saving, so it's going to be the original screen recordings. So whenever you actually finish with the screen recording, it's immediately going to save it automatically to this path in this case. So that's going to be my path, and you can actually go ahead and change that here. Do open folder and select and browse your own folder where you want it to be saved. Then right here, these are some preferences rather. So you can actually include the microphone input and output by default. And I can actually go back here. And as you can see right here, I have the video. I saved it. So if I click on it, there's not going to be any audio here. It was just basically recording my screen. But there you have it. And if you actually want to delete it, just in case, you can just go ahead, right click, of course. You do delete. And then right here, you can just double click on the recycle bin or right click and you do empty recycle bin. Obviously, that's basically just how you delete any files within Windows as well in general. But anyways guys, there you go. That's how we actually record with the snipping tool, which once again used to be only for screenshots, for getting the images. Now you can actually also record with it. It's a pretty basic built-in video recorder, but it definitely gets the job done if you just have to record something pretty simple on your desktop. So that's of course very nice. Anyways, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you like, really nice. Subscribe, it's also really nice. And hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.